The Teldorian survey ship hovered silently above the ruins of what was once Washington, D.C. Centuries had passed since humanity abandoned Earth, fleeing the ecological collapse they had triggered. Now, only crumbling monuments remained, half buried beneath encroaching vegetation and the ravages of time. Primitive constructions, remarked Rekthar, the blue-skinned lead scientist, adjusting his atmospheric filter as he stepped onto Earth's soil. Hard to believe the historical archives claimed these creatures achieved spaceflight. The scientific team spread out across the overgrown National Mall, their sleek environmental suits contrasting with the weathered stone and rusted metal surrounding them. Their mission was simple: document the remains of human civilization and evaluate its technological development before its collapse. "You shouldn't underestimate what happened here," said John Winters, the human liaison assigned from the Mars colony. His voice carried a quiet defensiveness as he watched the aliens scan the Lincoln Memorial with obvious disdain. Rekthar flicked his inner eyelid in the Teldorian equivalent of an eye roll. "Your species' tendency to romanticize its past is well documented, Winters. The evidence suggests your people barely reached atomic understanding before destroying yourselves." John bit back a sharp reply. As the only human on the expedition, he walked a fine line between defending Earth's legacy and maintaining scientific objectivity. The Mars colony depended on good relations with the Teldorian Confederacy, which had discovered the scattered human settlements 50 years ago and brought them into the galactic community. As a protected species, of course. "What's this?" called out Nixera, the team's geologist. She stood near a half-collapsed building, her scanner hovering over the ground. "I'm detecting unusual energy patterns beneath the surface." Rekthar hurried over, his six-fingered hand adjusting his own scanner. "Impossible. This area was thoroughly surveyed from orbit." "Something's blocking deeper scans," Nixera insisted. "There's a structure at least 30 meters down, and it's active." John felt his heart rate quicken. This was the old Department of Defense area. There were rumors of underground facilities. More human myths, Rekthar dismissed, but curiosity overtook his skepticism. "Still, we should investigate. Scientific thoroughness demands it." By evening, the team had established a base camp and brought in excavation equipment. As darkness fell over the ancient city, John stood alone at the edge of camp, gazing at the broken dome of the Capitol building silhouetted against the stars. "We weren't as simple as they think," he whispered to himself. The excavation began at dawn. Laser drills cut through layers of concrete and steel with precision, while scanning probes mapped the cavities below. By midday, they had created an access shaft into what appeared to be an intact underground complex. "The preservation is remarkable," said Lily Carson, the team's archaeologist, as they descended in a hovering platform. "These chambers should have flooded or collapsed centuries ago." "Unless they were designed not to," John suggested. The platform touched down in a vast chamber that, against all expectations, lit up as they arrived. Dust covered everything, but beneath it were consoles and equipment unlike anything in the historical records. "This technology," Vrekthar's voice trailed off as he approached a central terminal. "It doesn't match any known human development stage." John felt a strange mixture of pride and apprehension as he stepped forward. Something about the room seemed to respond to his presence. A subtle humming grew louder, and the lights brightened. "I believe," he said slowly, "we've just found evidence that human history isn't quite what everyone thinks it is." The terminal in front of them suddenly activated, projecting a holographic interface that caused even the Teldorians to step back in surprise. "Welcome back," said a feminine voice from all around them. "It's been a long time." "System identification required," the feminine voice announced, echoing through the underground chamber. A beam of light projected from the ceiling, scanning each member of the team before settling on John. "Human DNA detected. Access granted to Level 1 systems." The Teldorians froze, their compound eyes widening as holographic displays materialized throughout the room. Data streams in ancient human languages flowed across the walls, while three-dimensional models of unfamiliar devices rotated in the center of the chamber. "Impossible," Vrekthar whispered, his scientific certainty visibly shaken. "This technology, some of these principles aren't even in our theoretical databases." John stepped forward, drawn to the central interface. "What is this place?" The voice responded immediately. "This is HFY, Advanced Research Intelligence Archive, Facility, Washington. I am the caretaker AI for Project Prometheus. How may I assist you, citizen?" "Project Prometheus," John repeated, the name unfamiliar even to him. "An initiative to preserve human technological achievements in the event of planetary evacuation or extinction," Araya explained. "This facility contains complete records of human scientific advancement through the year 2089, including technologies deemed too sensitive for public knowledge." Lily moved beside John, her eyes wide with wonder. "But our historical records show humanity never progressed beyond early space exploration and basic AI before the collapse." "That information is deliberately inaccurate," Araya stated. "The Global Science Council enacted Protocol Darkness in 2091, concealing humanity's true technological state from both future generations and potential extraterrestrial discovery." The revelation sent a ripple of tension through the room. Vrekthar's assistants muttered among themselves in their native language, while Mixera approached one of the displays with scientific curiosity, overcoming her shock. "Why would humans hide their own achievements?" Vrekthar demanded, suspicion evident in his voice. John felt strangely defensive. Maybe they had good reasons. Araya displayed a new series of images, Earth from orbit, with strange energy signatures circling the planet. Humanity detected 17 distinct alien observation missions between 2040 and 2090. The Council determined that revealing advanced human technology would make Earth a target for resource exploitation or conquest. Lily gasped as one section of the wall slid open, revealing a laboratory filled with equipment that looked brand new despite centuries of abandonment. At its center stood a device emitting a soft blue glow. "Is that a quantum computer?" "Nix," Era asked, approaching it cautiously. "Molecular computation matrix," Araya corrected. "Generation 7, capable of calculating probabilities across dimensional barriers." Vrekthar's skin paled to a lighter blue. "That's theoretically impossible. Even our most advanced systems can't." "Your computational methods are fundamentally different," Araya interrupted. "Human quantum technology followed an alternative development path after the Yankton particle discovery of 2062. John couldn't help but feel a surge of pride, watching the aliens reassess everything they believed about his species. For generations, humans from the colonies had endured condescension from galactic society, treated as lucky survivors rather than equals. "Araya," he asked, "are there other facilities like this one?" 17 primary archives exist worldwide, all currently in dormant status. Vrekthar composed himself, the scientist in him taking control again. "As expedition leader, I'm declaring this facility under Exeldorian Research Authority. All technology must be cataloged and reported to the Confederacy Science Division." The light suddenly dimmed, and Araya's voice cooled noticeably. "Unauthorized claim detected. This facility remains under human sovereignty per the Emergency Preservation Act. Access permissions are now restricted." Without warning, a transparent barrier materialized between the Exeldorians and the central computers. "What's happening?" Lily asked, backing away from the barrier. "I believe," John said slowly, realization dawning, "that we've just discovered Earth isn't as abandoned as everyone thought." From somewhere deep within the facility, machinery hummed to life for the first time in centuries. "Override attempt detected. Security protocols activated." Araya's voice had changed, becoming firmer and more authoritative. The blue glow intensified throughout the facility as hidden panels opened in the walls, revealing defensive systems that looked nothing like conventional weapons. Vrekthar backed away, his scientific curiosity now tempered with visible concern. "What is the meaning of this? We pose no threat. Your intent to claim human technology violates core preservation directives," Arayat explained. "Full facility access requires human authorization at command level." John found himself the center of attention as everyone turned to him. The weight of the moment wasn't lost on him. Somehow, he'd become the bridge between two worlds, neither of which he fully understood. "Araya," he said carefully, "can you explain what Project Prometheus actually was? Not just its purpose, but what it accomplished." The AI seemed to consider this request. The defensive systems remained active but didn't advance. A new holographic display appeared, showing Earth's solar system. By 2075, humanity achieved technological singularity in multiple scientific domains. AI began. Quantum computing, zero-point energy, consciousness transfer, and limited manipulation of space-time became operational technologies, not theoretical concepts. Images flowed across the display, devices that resembled nothing in colonial historical archives, structures on the Moon and Mars that had no place in official records, vessels that clearly weren't the crude ships that supposedly carried the first colonists from Earth. When ecological collapse became inevitable, the Global Science Council enacted a two-part strategy. ARIA continued. Public evacuation utilized conventional technology to establish colonial outposts, while a secret network of AI systems was deployed throughout the solar system to preserve humanity's most advanced achievements. Lily shook her head in disbelief. "But why keep this from the colonies? From your own people?" "Fear," John realized, pieces falling into place. "They were afraid we'd repeat the same mistakes that doomed Earth." "Correct," Araya confirmed. "Additionally, if extraterrestrial civilizations discovered early human colonies, they would find only the expected level of technology for a young spacefaring species." Nixera moved closer to one of the displays, her scientific curiosity overcoming her caution. "These energy readings, they're similar to theoretical models our own scientists developed just decades ago." Vrekthar had been silent, processing this information with growing agitation. Now he turned to John, his voice tightly controlled. "You claim your people deliberately concealed their advancement, yet the evidence suggests humans destroyed their own world through incompetence and greed." "Both can be true," John replied quietly. "We reached incredible heights and terrible lows simultaneously." Araya interrupted their exchange. "Priority notification. I have detected communications from your ship to the Seldorian Confederacy. A data package containing preliminary scans of this facility was transmitted 11 minutes ago." Vrekthar didn't deny it. "Standard reporting protocol. The Confederacy Science Division must be informed of significant discoveries. The response transmission suggests otherwise," Araya stated. "A Seldorian military vessel has altered course toward Earth. Estimated arrival: 48 hours. The revelation hit the room like a physical force. John turned to Vrekthar, betrayal evident in his expression. "You called in the military. This was supposed to be a scientific expedition. You don't understand what's at stake," Vrekthar replied, his composure finally breaking. "If humans achieved singularity-level technology centuries ago, everything we believe about our place in the galaxy is wrong. The Confederacy must secure this knowledge." "And the Mars colony?" John asked. "What happens to my people when the Confederacy learns we're descendants of a potentially superior civilization?" Before Vrekthar could answer, Araya's voice cut through the tension. "Attention. I am activating communication links with all preserved facilities worldwide. Project Prometheus is entering active defense phase after 273 years of dormancy. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, ancient systems built by long-gone humans began to awaken." Halfway across the world, Susan Miller wiped sweat from her brow as she carefully brushed dust from hieroglyphics inside an Egyptian tomb. As the only human archaeologist permitted on the international expedition studying the ancient site, She had fought hard for this opportunity to connect with her heritage. "Dr. Miller, you should see this," called her assistant, a young Seldorian named Tez. "The scanner is picking up unusual readings behind this wall." Susan approached, squinting at the handheld device. "That can't be right. This tomb was mapped completely last season." As she touched the wall, a section of stone silently slid away, revealing a passage that definitely wasn't part of the original excavation. Both researchers stood frozen in shock. "That's not supposed to happen," Susan whispered. Before either could react further, lights activated along the newly revealed corridor, illuminating a path downward. From somewhere below, a mechanical hum grew steadily louder. Back in Washington, John watched in awe as HFY's central platform expanded, creating a global monitoring station. Holographic displays showed dozens of sites worldwide where systems were activating: Beijing, Cairo, Sydney, London, and many others. "What's happening?" Lily asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "The Prometheus network is reestablishing connections," HFY explained. "Each facility was designed to operate independently, but can function as a unified system when necessary." Vrekthar had been placed under guard by his own team members, who were equally shocked by his deception. Nixera now led the Seldorian scientists, maintaining an uneasy cooperation with John. "We're receiving a transmission from Cairo," Araya announced. A display flickered to life, showing a startled human woman standing in what appeared to be another advanced facility. "This is Dr. Susan Miller at—" "Wait, who am I talking to? What is this place?" "Susan." John stepped forward, recognizing a fellow colonial. "I'm John Winters. I'm in a similar facility in Washington. Are you okay?" Susan's face showed the same mix of confusion and wonder that John had experienced hours earlier. "I was in a tomb excavation when everything changed. There's technology here that shouldn't exist. The AI called itself OSIRIS and said something about Project Prometheus being activated." "Same here," John confirmed. "Apparently, our ancestors left behind more than just ruins." Araya interrupted their exchange. "Warning. Defense systems at multiple locations have identified the approaching Seldorian vessel as hostile. Automated countermeasures are preparing to engage." "Countermeasures?" Nixera's voice rose in alarm. "What kind of countermeasures?" A new display appeared, showing orbital views of Earth. Dozens of previously invisible structures were now highlighting themselves: satellites, stations, and what appeared to be weapons platforms that had somehow remained hidden for centuries. "You have to stop this," John urged Araya. "The Seldorians aren't enemies. They're just afraid of what they don't understand." On the Cairo feed, Susan was having a similar conversation with Osiris. Both AIs responded simultaneously, their voices overlapping. "Defensive protocols require official override from authorized personnel." Nixera approached John, her expression grave. "Our ship will be bringing reinforcements. If those defense systems activate, it will be interpreted as an act of war." Meanwhile, in a sealed compartment of the Seldorian research vessel, Vrekthar's personal assistant worked frantically. Before being detained, Vrekthar had secretly transmitted data crystals containing partial schematics of the human technology. Now the assistant uploaded these to the approaching military ship, along with Vrekthar's personal assessment. Humans deliberately concealed technological superiority, must secure remaining knowledge before other species discover it. Back in Washington, John studied the awakening global network with growing concern. "Araya, can you establish a direct connection with Susan in Cairo? We need to coordinate." "Connection established," Araya confirmed as Susan's image stabilized on the main display. "John," Susan said urgently, "Osiris just informed me that multiple alien vessels from different species are now altering course toward Earth. Word is spreading about what was found here." The race against time had begun. Earth's long-dormant secrets would not remain hidden much longer. On the Seldorian homeworld of Faxor Prime, the High Council chamber erupted into chaos. Seven-term Councillor Several pounded his ceremonial staff against the floor, demanding order as the emergency transmission from Earth played again on the massive central display. These findings cannot be authenticated, argued Defense Minister Koldar. It's clearly a deception by the human colonists to elevate their status. Science Director Vensha rose slowly from her seat, her advanced age evident in her pale blue skin. The quantum signature readings are genuine. I've compared them to our theoretical models. No current civilization in the known galaxy has achieved this level of advancement. The room fell silent as the implications sank in. If humans possessed this technology centuries ago, Vensha continued, we must consider the possibility that our own technological foundation derived from their influence. A murmur of disbelief spread through the chamber. Councillor Zevrel raised his hand for silence. Explain, he commanded. Vensha activated her personal console, projecting ancient Seldorian artifacts dating back thousands of years. The great enlightenment of our third dynasty has always been attributed to divine inspiration from the celestial visitors. Our oldest texts describe beings who came from beyond the stars and gifted our ancestors with knowledge. She switched the display to show human figures extracted from the Earth facility data. The similarities in form and appearance were unmistakable. These weren't gods, she said quietly. They were humans. Back on Earth, John and Susan had established a coordinated communication network between 5 active Prometheus facilities. Through ARIA and other AI systems, they learned the true scope of humanity's hidden legacy. The singularity changed everything, John explained to Nixera as they reviewed historical files. By 2080, humans had developed technologies that fundamentally altered our understanding of physics, consciousness, and reality itself. But why hide it all? Nixera asked. Why let your colonies believe they were primitive survivors? Susan's voice came through the communication link. Osiris just showed me records from the final council meeting. They detected dozens of alien civilizations observing Earth, most with predatory intent. The council feared that revealing humanity's true capabilities would trigger immediate invasion attempts. So they created a facade, John continued, making it appear that humans had barely achieved spaceflight before destroying ourselves. The colonies were kept deliberately limited in their technology. A deception that worked for centuries, Nixera admitted. In deep space, the Seldorian military vessel Righteous Claim altered course to intercept 3 ships from the Vortex hegemony, longtime rivals who had also received word of the Earth discoveries. Captain Drelvan scowled at the tactical display. They can't be allowed to reach Earth first, he muttered to his executive officer. Secure a communication channel with any other Confederacy vessels in the sector. We need reinforcements. Sir, his communications officer interrupted. We're receiving a direct transmission from the High Council. Priority Alpha. The captain straightened with surprise. On screen, Councillor Zevrel's face appeared. Captain, your mission parameters have changed. You are no longer to secure Earth technology by any means necessary. Instead, you will establish diplomatic contact with the human representatives and the Prometheus As. Diplomatic contact, but the military advantage, is secondary to a more pressing concern. The counselor cut him off. Our Historical Archives Division has made a discovery. Humans didn't just visit our world in ancient times. They helped create our civilization. The quantum signatures in their technology match anomalous readings we've detected in our oldest temples for centuries. The captain's expression shifted from confusion to shock. Are you suggesting our entire technological development was guided by human influence? Yes, and we're not alone. At least 7 major galactic civilizations show similar patterns of development following suspected human contact millennia ago. On Earth, Ariah suddenly interrupted John and Susan's discussion. Alert! I have detected 17 vessels from different species approaching Earth orbit. Based on communication intercepts, news of this facility's discovery has triggered a galactic incident. John looked at Susan's worried face on the monitor. then at Nixera beside him. "It seems," he said grimly, "that humanity's past is about to reshape the galaxy's future." John paced the control room, watching as ARIA displayed the growing fleet of alien vessels entering Earth's solar system. 23 ships now, representing 11 different species, all converging on the abandoned homeworld of humanity. "We need options," he said to Susan, whose face showed equally deep concern on the Cairo facility's video feed. "Once they arrive, they'll demand access to everything we found. And fight each other for it if necessary," Nixera added grimly. The technology in these facilities could shift the balance of power throughout known space. Aria's holographic interface expanded, showing a three-dimensional map of Earth's orbital space. "I have detected activation signals from defensive platforms in high orbit. The autonomous defense grid is preparing countermeasures." "Can we disable it?" John asked. "Negative. Only authorized command personnel with genetic verification can modify defense protocols." Susan leaned forward on her screen. "Osiris just opened a new section of the Cairo facility. John, there's something you need to see." Her camera panned to show a massive chamber filled with what looked like thousands of sleek, metallic pods arranged in perfect rows. "Are those?" John's voice trailed off. "Interstellar vessels," Aria confirmed. "Short-range scout ships designed for exploration and emergency evacuation. Similar hangars exist at all primary Prometheus facilities." Nixera studied the ships with professional interest. "The design principles are unlike anything in current use, but there are elements that appear strangely familiar." "Because they influenced your own ship designs," Susan suggested. "If humans really did visit Seldor in ancient times, they might have brought this technology with them." A priority alert flashed across all screens. Aria's voice took on a more urgent tone. "Defense grid has locked onto approaching vessels. Weapons charging. Estimated time to engagement, 17 minutes. We need to stop this before it starts," John insisted. "A direct attack will only confirm every species' worst fears about humanity." In the operations center of the Seldorian flagship, Captain Trelvon received updated orders from the High Council. "Approach with caution. Attempt communication with Earth defense systems. Under no circumstances initiate hostile action." His tactical officer looked up from her console. "Sir, the Vortex and Krilltak ships are moving into attack formation. They're charging weapons." "Fools," Drelvan muttered. "Open a channel to all vessels. Warn them that attacking could trigger automated responses." But his warning came too late. The lead Vortex ship fired a probing shot toward Earth's atmosphere, likely attempting to test the rumored defenses. The response was immediate. A previously invisible satellite platform revealed itself, firing a pinpoint energy beam that disabled the Vortex ship's weapon systems without destroying the vessel. "Remarkable precision," Nixera whispered as they watched the exchange from the Washington facility. "That technology is centuries beyond current capabilities." "But it won't stay defensive for long," John warned. "We need to assert control before the AIs escalate this into full combat." Susan's voice came through with sudden excitement. "Osiris just revealed something critical. The original scientists included a genetic legacy protocol. Direct descendants of Project Prometheus personnel can claim emergency command authority." "But that was centuries ago," John objected. "How would we even know if—" "Your DNA was scanned when you entered," Nixera reminded him. "Aria recognized you immediately." John turned to the AI interface. "Aria, am I genetically linked to Project Prometheus personnel?" The AI's light pulsed briefly. "Confirmed. You are a direct descendant of Dr. Alan Winters, lead quantum engineer, Washington facility. Command protocols available upon formal request." In the Cairo facility, Susan received similar confirmation about her own ancestry. "This is why we were drawn to Earth studies," she realized. "Why we fought so hard to join these expeditions. Something in our family histories preserved the connection." As the orbiting ships positioned themselves for potential conflict, John made his decision. RIA, I formally request command access to Project Prometheus Defense Systems. The AI's form shifted, becoming more defined and focused. Genetic verification accepted. Voice print confirmed. Welcome, Commander Winters. What are your orders? John shared a determined look with Susan through the video link. Show me everything we've got. It's time humanity reclaimed its legacy. The command center transformed around John as holographic controls materialized at his fingertips. Status reports from defense systems worldwide streamed across multiple displays, while ARIA's presence expanded, becoming more vibrant and responsive. Full system access granted, the AI announced. All Prometheus facilities now recognize your authority, Commander Winters. Above Earth, the standoff between alien vessels intensified. 3 more ships had fired testing shots, each receiving precise disabling responses from the orbital defense grid. The remaining vessels held position, weapons hot, but not yet firing. We need to address them directly, John decided. RIA, can you establish communication with all ships in orbit? Channel open. RIA confirmed after a brief pause. John took a deep breath. This is John Winters speaking from Earth. I formally request all vessels stand down weapons and maintain their current positions. We have no desire for conflict. Captain Drelvan of the Tseldorian flagship responded first. This is the Confederacy vessel Celestial Harmony. We acknowledge your authority over Earth territory and will comply. Other commanders were less cooperative. The Vortex captain's harsh voice cut through the channel. Humans abandoned this world centuries ago. Its treasures belong to whoever claims them. From Cairo, Susan's voice joined the conversation. Those treasures, as you call them, were deliberately preserved for humanity's future, and that future has arrived. As they spoke, ARIA quietly alerted John to an unexpected development. Long-range sensors have detected multiple objects approaching from the outer solar system. Signatures match Prometheus deep space vessels. What? John whispered. I didn't activate anything beyond Earth. You didn't need to, came a new voice over the communication system. We've been waiting for this day for a very long time. On the main screen appeared the face of a woman with familiar features, human, but with subtle differences that suggested generations of adaptation to different environments. I am Admiral Grace Hartwell of the Prometheus Deep Space Fleet. We detected the awakening of Earth's systems and have returned as protocol dictates. The revelation stunned everyone in the facility. Susan's voice shook slightly as she asked, You're saying humans have maintained an advanced fleet in secret all this time? More than a fleet, Admiral Hartwell explained. While the colonies struggled with limited technology, believing themselves refugees from a dead world, the Prometheus mission continued. We established outposts beyond the known galaxy, developed technologies beyond even what these facilities contain, and monitored the development of all major civilizations. The tactical display updated to show dozens of advanced vessels emerging from the outer planet's orbits, taking position around Earth. They dwarfed the alien ships in both size and apparent capability. For centuries, we've lived among you, the Admiral continued, addressing the alien commanders. Our people have integrated into your societies, guided your development, and ensured peaceful expansion when possible. The humans you've known from the colonies were just one part of our civilization, those who chose or were chosen to remain visible. In the Washington facility, Nick Sarah stared at the display in shock. The similarities between our technologies, the unexplained leaps in our development, were not coincidences, John confirmed, pieces falling into place. Humanity never truly fell. They just changed their approach to galactic civilization. Admiral Hartwell's expression softened. John Winters, Susan Miller, your activation of the Earth facilities has completed the cycle. It's time for humanity to reclaim its visible place in galactic society. The alien vessels began powering down weapon systems as the reality of their situation became clear. Centuries of belief in their technological superiority had been upended in a single day. In orbit, the Admiral's flagship descended toward Washington. John and Susan prepared to meet their long-lost kin, both still processing the magnitude of what they'd discovered. "I still don't understand," Susan said through their connection. "Why reveal everything now? Why not continue as they had been?" John glanced at the data ARIA had provided about emerging threats from beyond known space, challenges that would require united response from all species. Because humanity's greatest achievement wasn't technology, he realized. It was understanding when to hide it and when to share it. As the Admiral's shuttle landed outside the facility, John stepped forward to greet the future, carrying with him the weight of a past that had never truly been lost, only waiting for the right moment to return.